Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And I have been covering Nature Boy's trial, and I was able to speak with one of the members who was at the beginning of the cult. And you can see him on the screen right there with the purple shawl. He comes in and basically gives his accounting of the trial. So we're going to hear from him and what he thinks about the testimony and things of that nature.
Flag shoot. Who are we? Carbonation.
What is carbonation?
The Christ conscious.
Who are you?
Angels of the Most High. Divine angels of light.
Who am I?
The Honorable Master Teacher Nature Boy. Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane. My highest self.
Who am I?
Queen Eliana. Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane. My highest self.
Where do you come from?
The highest frequency of the sun.
And what is your mission?
To collect.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I just wanted to, I've been watching the trial, and I just wanted to give my perspective on it. So I used to go by Rambo. I was in carbonation for about 2 years. And though I wasn't there when Janae was there, yeah, I think I have a little bit of insight into the workings of how that situation works. And, you know, I think it did get more intense as after I left. But yeah, I just think in this situation, it's an unfortunate.
Are you able to come on camera?
Sure.
Hey, Rambo. Hold on, let me put you on the screen. Those of us who have been following.
I remember you. You look good.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let me put him on the screen. Hold on, let me take this stuff off. All right. As soon as they start talking though, Rambo, I'm gonna take you down, but do not exit.
No worries.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so like this really sounds to me like it's just, I mean, I think a lot of us have been in relationships where things are tumultuous. And I think that my perspective is like everybody's guilty. Everybody's guilty of something. And I think Nature Boy's guilty of a lot of things. He definitely took the power that he had.
Pause, Rambo, pause. Do not leave. Do not leave.
Before you do that, who's your next, how long is your next witness going to be?
We have two relatives.
Use your mic.
Like my perspective on the whole situation is like, I think everybody's guilty of something to some degree. I don't think it's like the situation where he was just a villain and nobody else is responsible. You know, I think that there's a that this situation was something akin to like a toxic relationship that kind of got out of hand and became something that was, you know, what we're experiencing now, seeing. But it's just like that's my perspective on it. I think that Nature Boy is he orchestrated everything, but I think what he ultimately did is he just put pressure on people, like, and people made decisions out of their own volition. From my experience when I was there, yeah, he never physically forced anyone to do anything. He did try to utilize logic and long conversations, long meetings for many, many hours to try to convince people otherwise, but nobody was ever held against their will when I was there. There was no physical violence that I ever saw when I was there. Like I said, I think
when you were, sorry to cut you off, wasn't Velvet at the time that you were there, wasn't she getting like, you know, flicked up?
Well, I never saw nothing is what I'm saying. Like I never saw nothing myself, but my observation of their relationship was it was really tumultuous on both sides. It wasn't just like him being aggressive. Like she was really antagonizing and really, she had that same similar energy. So that's why I don't think about it in terms of like a helpless person, more in terms of like somebody who chose to participate in something time and time again that, you know, that they felt that out of their own will that they wanted to participate in. So I think these situations are tricky because it's like it's easy in retrospect to make kind of accusations, and then it's like when it gets tied up with feelings about that person or you're hurt, you're liable to say things that, you know, isn't reflective of the actual experience that happened. Now, you know, and obviously the case is unfolding and we're hearing both sides. So it's like it's important to stay impartial until you hear all the evidence and stuff. But that's just like my outside observation based off of like knowing Nature Boy, knowing the situation, the kinds of people that went there. A lot of people, especially like the women that wanted to be with him, they really liked the limelight. You know, they liked the limelight, they liked the drama, they liked that whole situation, and it gave them an outlet for them to kind of be seen and to experience something that they probably never experienced in their life. So it's kind of like there's a lot of that intertwined with the story that's not really being spoken about.
Okay, so what drew you to the group? Did you like the limelight, or what was your inspiration to go and join?
I was really inspired by what Nature Boy was saying at the time. He was speaking very passionately on YouTube, and just the topics and the things he was talking about, I was really resonant to, and I just really resonated with whatever he was talking about, and he moved me and compelled me to want to live in the tropics and want to do something different. And so when the opportunity opened up, he needed a translator because the old translator had left, and I said I spoke Spanish. So I was like, oh, this might be an opportunity. Maybe I can actually offer something to the group, and that'll give me a reason to actually go there.
All right. And so while you were there, you were paired with I remember she had an afro. I can't remember her name. What your wife at the time? Was she are you guys still together?
Yeah, Grace, she went by many names. I think Fury at the time, Nature Girl Fury, and then Willow.
Okay. And then you guys had two kids together, or
No, we have one,
one?
Zen. He's 5.
Oh, okay. And you guys are still together now?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you were there, from my understanding, was Nature Boy was trying to make her one of his wives as well, correct?
No, she was one of his wives, but when she got with me, they never went back and forth. Like there was no back and forth. It was just at some point she was with him, and then when I was with her, that was it. There was no back and forth. We were on and off in the group, but he was never back with her after that.
Okay. So him being with her, or the back and forth stopping, did that have anything to do with you leaving?
Nah. I mean, what made me leave was basically I just started to realize I started to voice my opinion about things that I wasn't in agreement to, and the more I did that, the more that kind of brought tension between me and Nature Boy, and he felt like he couldn't be himself because I was saying like you going live too much, like we like like you expecting me to like I was a tech guy, so I was uploading all the videos, and I was just saying like you're just doing too much basically. Like why are we going live all day long and doing all this? And yeah, and then he started to like kind of want to accommodate me, but then he kind of couldn't, at some point. He was, oh, my camera went out. He at some point he was like, nah, fuck that, I'm not going to change for anybody, and I'm gonna keep being who I am. And so I just kept voicing my opinions, and the more I did that, I just think it caused tension to the point where we were part of the Go Out crew. It was Flo, Vibes, me, and Grace sometimes would go with us, except when she got pregnant. She didn't go sometimes. But so we started kind of like plotting outside of the camp because that gave us space for us to kind of share our own thoughts and ideas that we didn't really want to share in the group because it was kind of taboo to talk about anything that was other than the group and the movement and what we were doing. And so during those go out times, we started to share thoughts and ideas, and that started to cultivate like this desire to want to leave. And then with Mama Dia passed, that was kind of an awakening for me. I started asking myself, like, do I really want to die here? Basically, do I want to spend the rest of my life here? Is this really what I want for my life? But the thing that made it challenging, I think I'll say, is that when you try to leave, it was a process. It wasn't just like, it wasn't a physical holding you down, but it was this process of interrogation, of long, very drawn out meetings that were trying to get you to see that this is the right place for you, or you're making the wrong decision. There's nothing else out there. And so you kind of just talk in circles for hours and days even. And so that's why people left during the night, because they wanted to avoid that process. It wasn't because there was like physical force, but they just wanted to avoid the process of having to sit down and have these conversations. So yeah,
Wouldn't you
that's
classify that as like a form of manipulation, that some members are manipulated to stay in a situation where there is high tension? You explained that a part of the reason why you wanted to leave was because you having your own thoughts caused you to um have like a little back and forth. So wouldn't that be like a form of manipulation?
No, for sure. Yeah, it definitely was manipulation. Um, I just don't. I don't think that's illegal. Like, I think there's a lot of things that Nature Boy did that aren't illegal, but that are like frowned upon, or people might say are negative. But you using words to try to manipulate someone, outside of the court of law and stuff. Um, you know, a lot of these things that people are accusing them, like they're true, but they're just like not really no bounds for it in the court of law. I mean, and it's like for me, it's like at what point do you draw the line between being manipulated and then being a sovereign uh, human being? Because it's like we absolve people the responsibility to think for themselves, and then we blame it all on him, which he has part to do. But I think that the other people participated as well, out of their own volition, and then they go in retrospect to try to protect their decisions. They want to say that they were manipulated. So it's like a really fine line. Like I could say that he put pressure on me, but now looking back at that experience, I acknowledge that I didn't speak up a lot of times when I should have spoke up. I did do things that maybe I wasn't in agreement to, but I was just socially going along with the group, like a lot of us go along with a lot of shit, right? But I definitely, there was a limit for me. So it's like when Nature Boy wanted to be with all the women, I said, I don't believe in this. I don't agree with this. If you're going to do this, this is your world. I came into it, but I'm about to dip because I don't agree with this. And that was my line. And then when he saw that, he was like, oh no, I ain't even trying to be with your wife. I was just talking about the other women. But for me, it was more of a matter of principle. Like right now, you might not want to be with her, but if I was with a woman that you did want to be with, you would take her and you would think that was okay. So I wasn't in agreement to that, but I wasn't trying to change the situation, because at some level I did feel like I came into it as an outsider into his world. So who am I to try to change how he's living his life? I'd rather just leave.
All right, all right, all right. That's good insight, and I understand your perspective. There are people in the chat who are sounding off. So I want some of you guys to be able to ask
Kettle.
I don't want to mess it up.
Just Ketzel.
Ketzel, like pretzel. Okay, Ketzel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. If you want to ask Ketzel a question, then put Q before the question, and then you proceed. You guys went to, where did you go? To Hawaii? I think you went to like Hawaii or somewhere.
Yeah. We came to Hawaii, Big Island. We still live here.
Oh, okay. People in the chat saying Serenity wanted to be queen back when. Let's see. They said, did you get help mentally when you left?
Like by a psychiatrist or like somebody, like a professional? Is that what they're asking?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Somebody asked kind of like a silly question. They said, did you have to rub his feet?
Nah.
All right. So another person says, all right, what happened to Mama D?
Yeah, I mean, we told that story many times. I think people don't believe what we share, but yeah, the truth is that she had health issues for a long time, and one day she just didn't wake up, didn't get out of her tent, and we went to check on her, and we observed that she had passed. And so we did what we had to do to take care of the body in a foreign country and do the autopsy and all of that. But yeah, that's what happened with Mama Dia. She was really cool. Like she made good food, and it was just kind of inspiring to see like an older person actually wanting to live life on their terms and going outside of the constraints of what they were born into. But yeah, fortunately she had like long time health complications, and she passed.
Okay. Another person says, do you still follow the teachings of Nature Boy?
Yeah, so a lot of the process after leaving was kind of sorting that out. Like, what do I still believe in and what don't I believe in? And so there's some things that still kind of overlap. I mean, we still sleep in the tent. We like to sleep outside, close to the elements. I still wear my sarongs, and I like to dress a certain way. There's certain things, and the principle of like kind of knowing yourself, but these are things that predate carbonation. Carbonation just took a lot of concepts from a lot of different things, or Nature Boy, I should say. But so yeah, there's definitely things that I still feel alignment to, and then there's also things that I've let go of since then that I feel like I'm not in alignment to anymore.
Okay, all right, all right. Good question. I mean, good answer. All right. So someone says, where were you and your wife originally before you moved into the coast/Hawaii?
Oh no, that wasn't in Hawaii. We went to Costa Rica. Before that, I was living in California. She was living in Atlanta, I think.
Okay. And do you feel like you guys made a bond from having similar experience in this cult, or do you consider it a cult?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it definitely was like something that was very mind altering. You know, it was something that immersive. It wasn't just like hanging out with a group of people and then you go to your house. It was like you were living with people. You were in like this very intimate situation that really was your world at that time. So if that's what people mean by a cult, then yes. But yeah, so I mean, with me and Grace, like we obviously have a child together, and that experience really was deep and impactful for both of us. And so we were bonded by those things. And I mean, we obviously care for each other and have developed our relationship throughout the years. But it was really, it was really a culmination of that situation, and that is a big part of, I think, what glues us together, because it was just something that many people don't experience in their lifetime. And it's like we also share similar values and perspectives on the situation, leaving it. So that has helped us to really transform ourselves and ask ourselves, like, what kind of life do we want to live, and then being able to go out there and live it.
All right. And to be more specific, as far as cult, do you agree that it was a sex cult specifically?
Nah, I don't think so. As far as when I was there, I mean, the teachings evolve, things change over time, but I mean, the message was always about getting back to nature, knowing yourself. We have certain dietary practices. For me, looking at it back at it now, and like kind of what I study now, is it was kind of like the social dynamics of what it means to be part of a tribe. Like there's tribes in the Amazon in different parts of the world that live very intimately like that. That's how it felt. It felt like we were alone in the world, and it was just us, and we were living very communally and together. And obviously there was things that we didn't like, but there was also great moments that we had. It was just a full spectrum experience that was really intense because of who Nature Boy is. He's just an intense dude. Like he's just really intense. That's all I could say. And so I think that's really what makes it so definitive or defined, is that it wasn't just a mundane experience. Like there was always something going on, whether it was drama or some shit online or fun that we're having. There was never a dull moment, basically.
All right, all right, all right. And let me know when you're tired of answering. But someone says, why did you let your wife and child get near death before you left? If you could leave at any time.
Well, I think with Grace, I mean, she lost a lot of weight, and I don't know if that was part of the diet that we had at the time, and it was just like it was kind of, looking back at it now, it was kind of, she didn't get the care that she needed, not only from like Nature Boy and what he allowed, but also from the other members and the women, like the nurturing that I think a woman should have during pregnancy. A lot of that thing wasn't accommodated for her. So the cravings that she would have and stuff like that, it wasn't really accommodated. So I think that she started to lose weight because she wasn't able to fulfill on a lot of things that she wanted, because we had a certain specific way of eating and everything else was kind of frowned upon and taboo. So I was in that mindset too, kind of like that discipline, like this is how we eat, this is how we move, like we shouldn't go against that, because these are our beliefs and we should honor them and live in alignment to them. But now looking retrospectively and knowing what I know now, I would, I don't agree that how we were moving was the most optimal in terms of like diet and the things that Grace needed at the time during her pregnancy. So it wasn't like this intentional thing that I felt like they were sick. I just wasn't really able to see. I wasn't really cognizant of what was actually happening to her health at the time. I was kind of like, I don't know if I was in denial. I didn't see it. Like it was just like, oh yes, you're skinny, but I don't know, maybe that's just a part of
There
the
was a
pregnancy.
health element that people were alleging also about her as well, wasn't there?
Yeah. People had said that there was rumors of like AIDS or something. I think the controversy was there. Like, I think just Nature Boy conflated autoimmune disease with AIDS. So if the acronym, if you make it an acronym, autoimmune disease is AIDS. So you could kind of make that. I don't know if he made that jump intentionally or that was just like a slip up from him. But he started saying that she had AIDS, but whatever, and then people ran with that. But that's not the case.
Oh, okay, so she did not have AIDS.
No.
Oh, okay, because I remember back when young Pharaoh, like that was like one of his main points that he was trying to expose Nature Boy by saying like she had it and Nature Boy had it and everything like that.
Yeah. No,
Um,
that wasn't true.
okay, someone says, how long were you there?
I was there for about 2 years, from like 2017 to 2019.
Okay. I'm just scrolling through different questions. You guys got to put Q in front. Oh, let's see if I'm missing any. Is there anything that you want to volunteer while I look through? Oh, did Grace give birth to a healthy child regardless of not receiving proper prenatal? I think her kids were healthy, but you can answer that. It's your kid.
Um, I mean, I think Zen was probably, undernourished in terms of calories and stuff. I think she
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
eating as well as she wanted to. I mean, he's really healthy now, like he's fine now, but I just think at the time, yeah, I think there was definitely room for a better improvement on that. It's just it was a tough situation. I mean, I think that's a story Grace could tell and share her own personal experience on that in terms of, not having the pregnancy experience that she wanted. But yeah, it was just like a militant situation. So even through pregnancy, she was expected to stand up straight and be at attention and stuff like that, which, as a pregnant woman, like that can be very uncomfortable.
Okay. Someone says, did Nature Boy make them say bisexuality is natural?
I don't know if I was there at that time. Yeah, when they started kind of moving into that space. Well, were we? Shit, I feel like I'm on trial now. I was just coming to share my perspective.
I mean, if you don't want to answer questions, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I'm just, people got a lot of questions, so
No,
if
I
you
know I
if
didn't
you
want to
feel
make this
like,
about me because I just
yeah,
wanted to share like my perspective on the whole situation.
yeah, if you feel
Um,
uncomfortable at any time, then you can stop the questions.
but yeah, I think he had mentioned that bisexuality in nature. He has I think he has said like he wished he was bisexual because then he would have men and women with him. I think he made a statement like that at some point.
Oh, okay, you could continue with your perspective that you wanted to add.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, and I think I look at life differently. And obviously, I was there, so I have a different perspective. I mean, I see a lot of people online that, give their perspective from never being there. And I understand they're just interested in the situation and they think that, Nature Boy is evil and he did everything that everybody has ever accused him of. But I just don't think it's that black and white. I think that in order for people to move forward from that situation, one of the greatest things that helped me was to take accountability and ownership for the role that I played in that situation. Otherwise, you'll just find yourself in another similar situation because you're not really fixing or addressing the things within yourself. So I think for me, that's the kind of the point that I wanted to share that, everybody that went there for a reason. They had a desire, they had an affinity to whatever it is that he was talking about. And even though they kind of just want to cast all the blame on him, there's a lot of accountability that's missing from the conversation on both sides. Even I think even with Nature Boy, like he doesn't want to admit that he had a certain level of power that he allowed to go to his head, that he allowed to take advantage of these people and manipulate and use them towards a non-righteous means. I think that's why I said like is everybody's guilty. And there's no innocent people like, oh, I didn't know. Like people knew, and it's just like you're just trying to protect. A lot of people are trying to protect their decisions that they made, rather than just being straight up and being like, yeah, I did that. That is me. That is part of who I've been. That has been my actions. So that's kind of my perspective on the whole thing.
So you feel like people, instead of taking accountability, it's easier to just blame somebody else for what role they played in it, like so that they
Well,
don't
honey,
look bad, I guess, and we could just
right. It's like he uploaded those videos. Yeah, but you that's how you move. Like you made those videos, like you agreed at some point. Like it's not like just so black and white, like he filmed things in privacy and like leaked out your innocence into the world. Like you have to like at some point be real with like who you are and your character and how it manifests in that situation, because that situation is just like a mirror to show yourself. He's going to put all the pressure he can on you to expose you to yourself, and you could choose to vilify him for doing that, or you could choose that as an opportunity to actually look at yourself and be like, damn, you're right, I do that. I do never take accountability for my actions. I do try to run away when people have try to call me out on something, things like that of that nature. That was a really real phenomenon, but I think he just took it too far with forcing people or just what's what he did, he kind of instructing people to hit like I wasn't there when that happened. I wouldn't have tolerated that, but like the whole physical aggression and violence, like that's not cool. Like if people didn't agree with it, just leave them, make them leave, kick them out. But yeah, so that's my perspective. Like where's the accountability on it on the other side? And I think on both sides, Nature Boy needs to take accountability for what he did, and everybody that was there also should take accountability for their role in it.
right. I understand what you're saying right there. Did you continue to view the videos, the live videos?
No, I mean, I did my best to try to like disconnect from that for a while, and not not really follow along. I mean, I would peer in every now and again to see, what's going on, like when they got locked up and stuff, but I wasn't really tuning into the lives anymore or just giving my energy to what he was teaching.
Oh, okay. So you didn't like watch the progression of like the violence escalate?
Nah, but I do recognize that, it did change from when we were there. And I ask myself sometimes, was that a consequence of us leaving? Because a lot of us that left, like Grace, me, Flo, and Vibes, like we were more vocal, and we were also older, so we were like more mature. So we were the ones that vocalized contrary opinions when he wanted to do something. Sometimes Flo would be like, I don't know, that's not a good idea, or I would be like, nah, I don't believe in that, or Grace would be like, no, we need to get some sleep. The reason that like we're having trouble waking up because we had a situation where it was like kind of an emergency and nobody woke up because everybody was so tired. So she was like, we need to get sleep because everybody's so tired, and he didn't like that. But then like a day later he came back, he's like, you're right, now we got to get to sleep, we got to get our rest. So it was things like that where I think that the more mature of us, like we kind of kept things in balance and order. And it seems like when we left, everybody else that was left was just like yes men, like people that weren't going to vocalize any contrary opinion no matter what. And so I think that my theory is like that's kind of what escalated things.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. What was the? I just had another question I was gonna ask you. Um, so watching the trial, watching the testimony, what do you think as far as like being able to know, like, you know what it's like to be there pre all of the escalation of the violence and everything like that. But as an outsider looking in, viewing the testimony from both sides, the cross examination from the defense, the direct examination from the prosecution, just from today's testimony and the testimony that's to come, like, what do you think the outcome will be? Just an educated guess.
I don't know. It's tough. Like it really, like hearing it's tough because I don't know what the jury's going to make of all this information. Because like she expresses a lot of emotion in her statements, and just her retelling the story. But then again, there's also like small inconsistencies, where it's just kind of like it's kind of vague. It's like it's a thin line between what one would call, sexual assault and just like a tumultuous relationship, where like people go back and forth and then they break up and then they're mad at each other. And then they, like there's some people who really live in that space. And so I could see it also as that being one of these instances where, there's tension between them and they're kind of mixing that in with like this sexual experience. And then her leaving and retelling that as something different because of her negative emotions that she has to him. That could be a scenario. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that could be one scenario. The other scenario could be like, this shit actually happened. But I don't lean to that because he has women right now outside of jail that have been waiting for him for a year, multiple women, wives who are waiting on him. And I don't see like why he had a need to like force himself on that. And that's not really how he moved when I was there. Like he wanted the women to be with him, but I never saw him explicitly force himself onto women. The women chose and wanted to be with him. So it was like more on their own volition. Like they liked that position, and a lot of them wanted to compete to be the queen, And so like that's just how women responded to him. So I just don't see that being as plausible, him having to take that course of action.
Oh, okay. I understand, but you also got to keep in mind that things did escalate from the nature boy that you saw versus how he would, want to have mind control over them and keep them close, but let them go, but keep them, still close. Did he ever try to get you guys to come back?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, yeah, he always wanted everybody back. Like we've talked to him since he's in jail. Like we've had conversations with him just to like settle the dust and get things off our chests and just, confront him in a way because for me and Grace, I think what Nature Boy represents is like confronting yourself and confronting him and just the thing that's you have a fear of or it's challenging, and it's because he's an assertive energy, so for you to be able to confront him is a challenge. You really have to stand on what you're talking about. And so we've talked to him since. And
were you kind of like nervous to have that conversation with him even while he was behind bars?
No, I think at some point like he lost the kind of grip that he had on me. Like I didn't see him as a threat anymore because I just understood the game that he was playing, and I just saw how he manipulated things, how he would try to basically put you in a position and say things that he understood your weaknesses, and he was just playing chess with you. And so I just didn't take him seriously like that at some point. So when I was able to talk to him, I told him, I said, like, look, you're gonna be in jail until you acknowledge the things that you've done. Like the reason you're still in there is because you're not owning up to the things that you've done. And until you do that, like you're gonna be in a situation, and I still believe that. I think that if he were to like I just don't know if he because of the way his character set up and the way his personality is, he's just always going to think of himself in a certain way. And so that's what I had told him, when we were on the phone. And so we've talked to him and confronted him since then. And, he's always going to view us like his like we're part of him in a way. So, I think with him to some degree, you do got to keep certain distance, because if you give him any type of energy, he's going to try to corral you back in, like that's just how he thinks. And so knowing that, you either have to treat him with a long stick or just completely, leave him alone and don't give him any energy.
All right. And how did he receive what you said?
Yeah, he definitely wasn't happy about it. I mean, I think he's still trying to proclaim his innocence. But for me, it's like the way I look at things, like spiritually and like karmically, it's like you might not be in there for the thing that you're being accused of, but you're in there for a reason. Like you're in there because you've done things that have led to this outcome, So that's how I look at it. And so my thing with telling him that was like, own up to the things that you've done so that you can be liberated from the things that you haven't done. And so that will bring clarity to the situation. But yeah, he definitely didn't receive it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to hold you. I've been here for all day, and I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Will you be back on the stream tomorrow?
Are you gonna stream it on your channel?
Yeah, I'll stream tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I'm keeping up. I'm curious. I'm interested in seeing how things are gonna pan out and play out.
Okay, I know there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions, but yeah, I gotta get off the stream.
Yeah, I feel you.
Thank you
I got
so
things to
much
do
for
too.
thank you so much for coming on. You riled up the chat, you know, you gave it a little razzle dazzle. There was people who said they understand, people who did not like your take, but you know, that's life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate hearing your perspective because it is interesting to hear the perspective of someone who lived it, understands Nature Boy, met him personally, went through it, went through the process of leaving, and all of those things like that. So I'm interested to hear from Grace as well if she is available at a later date. I definitely would love to hear from
Then they're
her.
really gonna be blowing up the chat if she comes on.
Well, we gotta make it happen, Kevin. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so thank you for coming on. Hopefully that maybe you guys can come on together at a later time, when we're streaming again. And so good talking to you. Thank
All
you.
right, yeah, thank you.
All right.